Radio, and we have a very awesome guest today, Traffic Death bassist Andrew Smeltzer. In the last episode, we were telling you, teasing you some news we heard about Traffic Death. You can pre-order a new album from them, and we'll get into all that. But I'm just here to welcome the mighty Andrew Smeltzer to Heavy Radio.
Hello, thank you.
Hell yeah. And great to hear from you and to hear some new stuff is in the works.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. I haven't seen you in I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I probably have you. When's the last time you played a live show?
March. Like, we were coming home when they started locking stuff down. Basically, we were coming back we did a weekend run, and so we were coming back from Columbia, Missouri, and it was just like just started hearing stuff about like all this stuff shutting down, and kind of got back just in time for everything to shut down. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, I had a couple of rad shows I was hoping to play that got canceled, and that was the last of it for me. So this is the longest time going without playing or going to a live show for me since I've been a teenager.
Yeah, I was going to say for me too. Yeah, because it's always been just a constant thing where maybe you'll go a few months, maybe 6 months at the most. If you're busy doing whatever. Maybe you're recording or something like that, but yeah, since I was in high school, it's probably been the longest break,
it's wild that this is up there among this slew of releases we're probably going to hear about from people that have been recording. Sure. This is among some of the early ones coming out, so that's awesome to see.
Yeah. And I'm kind of wondering about that too, like with all the extra time to kind of just focus on your music. Like, I wonder if there's going to be a whole lot of like out of left field releases from a band, like that are off, what they would usually do. Because just for us, we definitely had that kind of thing with recording and writing this new album,
Yeah, I hope so. It seems like I've noticed a lot of past releases that are now available on LP again. And I think that's one thing that has kind of picked up steam during this time period, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And actually, I think some of the news items I got for Heavy Radio, I think touch on some stuff like that. And starting off, I'm going with the Heavy Metal Time Machine. For this date in 1981, Iron Maiden released the single Purgatory, and Motorhead released No Sleep Till Hammersmith.
Hell yeah, dude. So
that's a pretty metal day in heavy metal time machine history right there.
Some fucking baggers, dude. Yeah.
On September 24th, here's one. The Everyday Rocks box set is coming out from Uriah Heep. So this is going to include the first 7 albums on picture disc, and then it's going to come with 7 T-shirts so you can represent Uriah Heep 7 days a week. Nice. And there's some art cards with lyrics, and it looks like Demons and Wizards and The Magician's Birthday both feature reimagined artwork by renowned fantasy artist Roger Dean.
Wow. So
it sounds like that's a pretty special box set in the history of box sets.
That's huge. And I love Uriah Heep. I saw him at Hoyt Sherman a few years ago, whatever that was. Were you there?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great show. They played, like, it was kind of fun because they played everything that you wanted to hear, and then they ended early because they know a lot of their crowd was like 60 plus,
Yeah, that reminded me, there's that venue specifically, there's been some epic stuff like that. Like quite a few years before that, I saw Wishbone Ash there. So it's kind of a similar vibe and situation.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a really cool venue.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, it's cool to see that there was, the older people there, but there was quite a few newer fans for sure.
So that's
going to
rad
see those.
that those will be available again, and you can rent Uriah Heep every day of the week without having a dirty shirt.
Sure. Yeah.
Sabotage is releasing their entire studio back catalog on LP, from Sirens to Poets and Madmen. So this will be a chance to get those records that they hadn't been making for quite a while now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then Dee Snider announced a new album. It's going to be his 5th full-length album, Leave a Scar, July 30th, via Napalm Records. And one interesting item that I saw from that announcement was George Corpse Grinder Fisher is going to appear on one of the tracks called Time to Choose.
Huh.
So that's quite the duo there, Dee Snider and the Corpse Grinder.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think Dee Snider still has the pipes.
Yeah, out of everybody I can think of that's had that long of a career, I feel like I would put him pretty high on the list as far as just quality of performance that he can still deliver.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think he was ever a drinker or a smoker. I think he took pretty good care of himself. So.
I think that definitely, from the vocal standpoint, since that's your instrument, it's part of it.
Right. Sure. Absolutely.
The opposite is your Don Dawkins and your Jeff Tate and whatnot.
Right. You lose that register. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think sometimes it's cool. There's people like Robert Plant that just acknowledges it and doesn't try to do too much of what he used to do, and just keeps playing new music, which is the opposite, which can still be cool.
Sure, yeah, and I think they detune when they did like those Led Zeppelin shows too.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Not a whole lot, but just enough to kind of match his vocals now.
Another wild news item that I saw was Headbangers Ball European Tour dates have been announced, and it's featuring Violence, Voivod, Exciter, and Artillery.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
That's quite the lineup.
Yeah. That's like who thought in this day and age that those bands would still be together and all tour?
Yeah, 2021. So something to look forward there for Europe. Hopefully it keeps going around the globe. But either way, that's rad.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll get into what you have going on. We've talked about a little teaser last week, but there's a new album rapidly incoming from Traffic Death, and you can pre-order it at sumpumprecords.com.
Yes.
And it looks like that's going really well. There's already some items that are sold out.
Yes. Yeah. There was always the limited stuff that we've always done, like it's like a package kind of deal, with like a special packaging. I think that's the one that's already sold out, where like you get like buttons and shirts and whatever. It's like a whole to do, I guess, like a kind of a little box set, I guess,
Sweet.
Yeah. So, but like, and then there's color vinyl, which there's like, it's like a purple and black style, which goes along with the artwork. And we did a gatefold. We spent a little bit more money and went on a gatefold because, we wanted to have a collage in there. And so
obviously there's plenty of people that are into it because they've already got on here and pre-ordered it. So you can pre-order the LP still right now at Sump Pump Records.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Sump Pump Records is way cool there, obviously.
Yes.
A lot of people that we've known over the years that keep that ripping. Dan and Chuck and Brian, Will and Tom, like that's just so many cool releases that they've put out. It's awesome that you're part of that history now.
Yeah, it's great. It's because it's not just one kind of style of music record label. It represents Des Moines, I think, because there's not you know, it's just so small that there's not a lot of room for like a whole scene of just one type of band.
Yeah.
It kind of just turns out where you end up playing with a bunch of different kind of bands.
Yeah, so it's cool to be partnered up with some rad people between some
Sure, yeah,
records,
absolutely.
and I like that there's the local pickup from ZZZ Records,
Yeah, yeah,
and so that's awesome. I always had awesome exchanges with Nate there, and
sure, yeah.
so yeah, that's awesome. Anywhere else in the world, you can order it via Some Punk Records. If you're local, you can pick it up here in Des Moines at ZZZ Records, which is also rad.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that place is super cool.
And then I also noticed that there is a new member for this release, Gordon,
Yeah,
the Nocturnal Tormentor Shumway on guitar
right.
and synthesizer.
Yes. Yeah, he's a new guy. We had you know, ex-band member of yours, Garen, he was in the band for quite a while. And then it was just a thing where it was just like a mutual kind of thing. And he left, and then we got Luke from Druids to help us out with Split LP with Captain Three Leg that we did in 2019. And we didn't want to ask him to commit to the band just because like Druids was always on the road, and also Luke plays drums in Modern Life is War, and so they would tour occasionally. So he's just so busy that it was just sort of like couldn't ask him to commit to anything like that. And then Shumway comes along, and we're like, this guy's cool. He's got like definitely like Nosferatu vibes that he's putting out all the time. So we're like, all right, he can hang.
Yeah, that would be a deciding factor for me.
Right. He's got
teaming up with such a person.
Yeah, bony long fingers. It's kind of weird. He creeps around. So we're like, all right, let's hang out with this dude.
He walks in and just some ominous music starts playing.
Yeah. Like out of nowhere. It's like, where's that coming from?
Yeah. And it also says he's doing some synthesizers. Is this the first time there's been synthesizer on a Traffic Death record?
Yeah. Like we decided that we wanted some instrumentals and kind of have the whole album flow like a movie, and just kind of I don't know, just break it up a little bit so it's not just I guess just hitting you over the head over and over again with just fast songs and whatever kind of shenanigans.
So the title is Judas Curse of the Iron Sabbath.
Yes.
Did that come from someone specifically, or was it a group thing?
It was like a group thing from about 17, 18 years ago with our old band, Black Market Fetus. That was going to be the title of the first Black Market Fetus album, which turned into Midwest Meltdown. But it was our drummer, Robert. Robert.
Yeah.
He thought it was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous name, and it totally is. But so we just we had that title forever, and it was always just kind of like a funny thing we thought about. And then it just came time to like put all these kind of songs together and do a new album. And we were like, yeah, let's call it that. It's totally over the top. It's going to be our craziest kind of whatever kind of experimental album.
From looking at the number of tracks and the track names, it's definitely there's a lot of hype for me in just reading those and trying to picture what this is going to be like. So that's rad. Oh, cool. Rad as fuck.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's like we kind of wanted to evoke things that would just kind of like you'd use your imagination and just kind of oh, what is this all about, kind of thing, with like the Terror Time, the Horror Space, which are instrumentals. But anyway, yeah. And a lot of it just kind of like coming from inside jokes, as you know, like being in a band, you kind of like come up with these little inside things that, other people have no idea what we're talking about. But it just kind of like random sayings that kind of, I guess, turn into, I guess, a euphemism for what's going on in your life. Like there's a song called "The Other Side of the Band," which is kind of like grass is greener on the other side kind of thing, So, but yeah, we just kind of make it like have fun with it, but we take our fun seriously, I guess. And yeah, it's the album is 22 songs, and it's just over 28 minutes. So we're not going to waste your time. It's in and out, here's a bunch of stuff, and it'll feel like it's longer. I don't know. So we kind of trick you into thinking like you're getting value. I don't know.
Do you have any plans for shows or touring yet? Or are you still in the wait and see for
that? Yeah, in August, it's looking like we are going to be playing, and we don't have a date set, but at GT's.
Awesome.
So it's
I was wondering that with, since one of the casualties is the Vaudeville Muse, and obviously years before that, Harry Mary's and the Reverb, which were some of the like coolest places to play in the Midwest. And so GT's would be awesome. That they would have that would be amazing. I thought the things that came to my mind were GT's and I guess that is one of the few.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about doing it at Kung Fu because the owners asked us to do one.
Yeah, Kung Fu Tap is the other one I was going to say. Kung Fu Tap or GT's or maybe both. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but I think they just got new carpet in Kung Fu, so they didn't want to fuck it all up.
In one night.
All in one night. It's just like, you spent thousands of dollars.
It looked like before all in one night.
Right, yeah. So like nothing happened. But and then it looks like there's a possible one in October, and I don't know why maybe I'm wrong about it being possible, but it'd be with Druids at venue, I guess, TBA. I think that there's actually one set for the show, but I don't know. I don't think I'm supposed to really nail that down.
Yeah, we'll help spread it when we see it. From the official word of mouth.
Right.
And But yeah, so when you were last touring, what was that venue situation like? Did you play some places that were pretty rad, or did it seem like a lot of places were closing down all over?
Yeah, there's PDM in Columbia, Missouri. That place is kind of like a newly discovered thing in the past few years that is really cool. It's a practice spot. A bunch of bands practice there, but there's like an open room and a stage there. And they've got a PA there, and it's really rad. There's graffiti all over the place. It looks awesome. It's cool. It's fun. Let's see what else. Other spots. I don't know, because I guess it just all seems kind of random. A lot of the places that we played, like I played quite a few times at the Brass Rail in Fort Wayne, Indiana, home of the Lurking Corpses.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's still kicking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot we played. That was like one of our. Well, because Traffic Death started going out of town pretty early on, but I remember we played Chicago with Dark Mirror, and then
that was a wild venue.
Yeah. That was the night where we gave Garen the name Jar Jar Drinks because you would get free beer at Brass Rail, right? And then they ran out of plastic cups that they would give you. So the bartender just gave Garen a mason jar of beer. So turned into Jar Jar Drinks.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
he also, that was the night Garen also jumped down a hole in the floor of a barn at Nate's dad's farm. He was just kind of looking around in there and just just jumped in this dark hole and like fucked his ankle up. I just saw him disappear. It was like a ghost, you know, just into this blackness.
Jumping into holes that you don't know what's on the other side.
Right.
Yeah. That is.
He said he immediately regretted that.
I believe it.
Yeah.
For you specifically, we'll go back here to the beginning. What got you into heavy music?
I don't know. I just kind of became aware of. I would see different things. Probably, maybe like a late night MTV situation where there was like Ramones and Sex Pistols videos. So I kind of became aware of like that punk rock was a thing, and just started. And from like other movies that I'd seen as a kid, like Repo Man. A lot of kind of like movies that had music elements into it. I just kind of like started to become aware of this kind of stuff, and it kind of seemed mysterious and, you know, fun, and I just like something that I wanted to find out more about. So, you know, I think it was like the first thing that I ever bought, like a piece of music with my own money, was Black Flag Wasted Again compilation, which had like all the eras of Black Flag. And at that point, you know, they'd been done for a number of years. And but I just kind of was into like everything Black Flag put out, like as a band from beginning to end. Like I really liked everything. And then so just getting into like a lot of early American hardcore, like Bad Brains and Minor Threat, all that good stuff as well. And then also closely along that, like my brother was starting to get into metal and I think I remember seeing it was like a BBC thing about like satanic rock music, and like I think they had, maybe it was like a Bathory album cover or something like that. But then like kind of like that was another mysterious thing. And I read an article about death metal, and I saw all these album covers like Scream Bloody Gore by Death, and like heard about Possessed Seven Churches, and that seemed like kind of scary. Like
I was just listening to that LP.
Yeah, and just like kind of stuff that you should be scared of, because like it is, because you know, like PMRC, they when they had like the Filthy 15, I think it was. You know, I think the most obscure thing they had on there was Merciful Fate, but you know, like totally flying
and
under
if I
the radar.
remember right, wasn't it was like an early Merciful Fate track that had come out long before most of the other stuff on the list. It was just so random.
Yeah, but little did they know that there was like Possessed and Bathory and like you know, even like more underground bands that were like, no, be scared of these guys. You know, and I remember putting on like there was we used to order from Aces Records in Florida, do mail order from there, and we got like a bunch of punk and metal records, me and my brother. And I remember putting on The Return by Bathory, and just like that ominous beginning, and it like kind of scared me. And I was like, all right, this is like, I'm into this, you know. Yes, it was like, you know, Sodom, Persecution Mania, and like Venom, and at the same time as being into like Youth of Today and other kind of stuff like that, you know. So it was kind of like a dual thing, but it was like punk first and then metal like shortly thereafter. And so
So basically, what you're saying is for your nasty bass output, we have to thank Emilio Estevez.
sure, yeah.
Repo
Which I
Man. I haven't thought of
yeah,
that movie for a while. That's awesome.
yeah, that's great. Which bass player Sandra Schloss from the Circle Jerks is in that movie, who I later met in Austin
Fuck
and
yeah.
smoked a joint with him, and he was fucking rad as shit. And we just talking about whatever, and he was playing with the weirdos.
Sweet.
And we went to go see him after our show, and yeah, yeah, super cool. Anyway, but
Yeah, I guess as an extension of that, when did you start knowing like bass was what you wanted to pick up and jam?
I guess I kind of like the sound of it. And then I remember like getting a cheap bass, and so me and my brother had like cheap basses, cheap guitars, for like $100. That I think my mom must have bought it for us. And so I don't know. It kind of seemed like a good idea. Like, well, we'll have one of each instrument and just kind of like learn both at the same time. But bass, I definitely, I don't know. I guess I like the sound of it, and then I remember seeing and just finding out about Motorhead and just looking through like a musician's friend catalog and seeing a Rickenbacker. And much like Lemmy, I really like the shape of it. There's something about it that I just, in those kind of combination of things. And in those catalogs, if you remember, it would have like an instrument or an amp, and it said like call for price, and you knew that meant there was no way you could afford it. But yeah, I always wanted Rickenbacker, and I would play P basses. And then I ran into the Rickenbacker, which I've had for I've had it for like 23 years now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as long as I can remember, you had the Rickenbacker with Sun amplification. Do you still use that, or you got something
no, I
else?
still have that. I still have that amp, but like I kind of just started buying like cheap amps just to use for power. Like I would get like Harkey amps. Like I got a Harkey amp, and I would just dial in like tones with distortion pedals and things. So, but then but like now I have a Mesa Boogie 400 plus. So I bought that, and it came with a cab as well. So yeah, I've just been playing with that Mesa Boogie, it's a tube amp, which I've only had one tube amp before. It was a Fender Bassman 135, but it was kind of shitty, and I sold it to a friend of mine that could actually like rebuild it.
Yeah, did you use that Rickenbacker since the start of Black Market Fetus, or did you start with something else?
I did.
Yeah, I thought so, because that's the only thing I can remember seeing.
Yeah, because it was like once I got it, I didn't want to play anything else.
Yeah,
and there was another time where I saw there was another Rickenbacker that was affordable, and but I didn't get paid until the next day. Like my cash, the check wouldn't deposit, and of course I came back the next day and it's gone. It was like a not a tobacco sunburst. I think it was like a fire. Yeah, it was a Fire Glow 4003. It was like for $750, and that's crazy cheap. I got mine for like $650.
Yeah, and now I can totally respect and understand, sticking with what is working for you, because like even you play like the same instrument, it could have been like made at the same time, same model, and there's so many things that go into a guitar or bass that it's like still can feel different if it's not that exact same one.
yeah, and I've had work done to it, because I've only had that one bass. Like take it to the Lutherie shop and get it worked on, which I'm gonna have to do here pretty soon.
Have you managed to escape anything really horrible happening to it over the years, or has it had to do some real bass saving work?
I've I've just kind of just kept an eye on it and just kind of made sure that, I always change the strings. I change the strings like more than most bass players do, I mean, like if we're really, I mean, a lot of times I wouldn't go more than a couple weeks without changing them. Yeah, yeah, just just general maintenance on it. I've done, and God, yeah, I mean, I've taken it to Europe and all over the U.S. and Canada with it. So it's been okay. I just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and without further ado, we'll get into our heavy radio episode 32 tracks, featuring some tracks brought to us from Andrew Smeltzer. So go ahead and fire it off, the first track here for our playlist.
Yeah, sure. Annihilate This Week by Black Flag. And I just remember when I heard that song that was on that Wasted Again compilation. And I heard that and I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to be the soundtrack of my summer, like for, year after year. And, throughout my teen years, it was like, well, I'm stuck in Iowa. I can't really do anything about that. But once I got into my late teens and early 20s and started like touring around, then it was like, all right, yeah, now this is like the theme song. Yeah. And I always wanted to hear it in a movie, like some sort of crazy kind of, not like a heist movie, but maybe like a youth gang film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Henry Rollins still, and I think it's it's just been crazy watching him progress from his time in Black Plague to still traveling around the world now, just doing his spoken word stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I know he's kind of a divisive figure for some people, but I don't know.
It's one of those people that, like, I just really don't think there's that much he would say that could really bother me. Like, he's just a good dude. And I really think, because our opinions are different on one thing, like, or the other, like, it's not going to make me like him any less, really.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I know he's not going to come out with something that's really going to be like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's possible now.
Yeah. So that's always nice when you have someone that you can look up to that was like, probably not going to come out of left field and do something fucked up.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, my first track for the playlist is Halloween with Ride the Sky.
Nice.
From Walls of Jericho, their debut full-length studio album. Came out in '85 on Noise Records. So it was the only album featuring Kai Hansen on vocals until now, 2021. Halloween, you got Kai Hansen doing some vocals back again.
Yes.
Halloween.
Yeah, I've seen some of the live videos where it's the Pumpkins United. It's great.
Yeah, I got a real vibe of Keeper of the Keys time period from what I've dug into so far. So I feel like it's one of those things where, you get the band back together and it actually turns out pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what people want to see. I want to see that with other bands too. Like, bring different eras together. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I also thought what was really cool is I heard Kiske say, like, his first thought of, if we're going to do this, is I just want to get along and be cool with the other vocalists, Andy Derrick. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Like, nothing else really mattered to him other than, like, they could like really have a good vibe and just
that's a gentlemanly it's a true gentleman. Making that
perfect
statement.
Gentleman.
Yeah. Of course, Dio, R.I.P. He's the penultimate gentleman.
Yes. The gentleman of all time and space.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that, to me, what we were talking about earlier, how some vocalists like Dee Snider kept healthy and didn't really do things that might fuck up his his
Mhm.
voice, I feel like Dio was kind of the opposite, like smoking and drinking and still managed to
Yeah,
sound fucking amazing until the end. Like
yeah,
obviously he got lower and deeper
he
and
did.
kind of more
Yeah,
growly, but I thought it was
right.
still an amazing performances up till the end.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
What is your next track for the
I've got
playlist?
Childhood's End by Pink Floyd. And it's just kind of going off on, I don't know, like I'd heard the song before, but there was something about it. Like it was several years ago, I was out on a hike and and it really just sunk in to me, just everything about it, really. Um, like the kind of build up in the song. And I don't know, just it was almost like a kind of like a weird spiritual moment, like an epiphany about uh, this song. And maybe it was something like something also to do with you're out on a hike and you're alone, and it's sort of like a walking meditation. You're kind of really just left up to your own devices in terms of um,
Yeah, I love
I guess you're just on your own, and just kind of things come to light to you
I
in that kind
love
of state.
science fiction specifically.
Right.
Just over the
Mhm.
years, I've read more and more, and I guess this came
Yeah.
from, I didn't know that, but it came from a Arthur C.
Or
Clarke
yeah, and that
novel.
yeah, and that's an incredible book too. That's one of my favorite books. Arthur C. Clarke is definitely one of my favorite authors for sure.
Yeah,
But
and so
yeah,
I think that's kind of I actually didn't even know Pink Floyd had a song that came from a science fiction novel, but it's
right.
a band that it definitely seems to make sense.
Yeah, great band, great song, great book. Yeah, it's amazing. Anybody out there, I would highly recommend just read a book in general, but also read an
Yes,
Arthur.
for humanity's sake, read a book
Yeah, just
in
read it. Read a
general.
book. Yeah, just read in general. Don't be a dummy.
I guess I didn't know this either, but the last time they played this song live, it was in 1973 at Kent State University.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that would have been what I think the shooting at Kent State was like 1970. I want to think.
Yeah, that
I
sounds
want to
right to
say.
me.
Yeah.
The I guess they performed it live in F sharp minor, which is a step higher than the studio version. So I've always
Huh.
found it interesting when people tune up as opposed to
Yeah.
down for some
Right.
reason.
Yeah. 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 It's like, what are you doing? Yeah.
My next track for the playlist is Candlemass with Solitude from
Yeah.
Epicus Fumicus Metallicus.
Nice.
That came out in 1986 on Black Dragon Records.
Mhm.
And another band that I guess kind of put up there with Halloween that have stuck to it and really put out some powerful stuff recently.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. Candlemass is, I just listened to that album, the first one. There's so like the riffs just don't stop on that record.
Yeah,
Like Leif Edling, I don't know what, just everything that Candlemass has done is just got a lot of rocket sauce in that bottle. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And to me, like 1986, there really wasn't a lot that you can even compare it to other than the obvious Black Sabbath
Right.
Inspirado, but
Yeah.
like, and just the lyrics and yeah, to me, being able to just sing about whatever, even depression, like it's like, it's gonna help some people just to be able to talk about, how they
Mhm.
feel and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah,
Get it
everything
out.
about that record still sounds amazing from the needle drop to till the end.
Yeah. The ending. Oh man. I love, it's such a great riff and that vocal melody over that. you know, like to end the record. And it's like I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it.
Yeah,
It's such a great
yeah.
riff. You only hear it for like 45 seconds and it's done. You know, it's like a Merciful Fate riff. I have like a killer riff and they'll just never go back to it. And that's kind of like what it makes it so special, you know, like it sticks in your mind, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely crank this one loud. What's your next track?
Well, I knew I had to put in Sabbath. Black Sabbath is my favorite band of all time. And I figured that out when I was about 16. And so, I mean, there's just so many that I love, but just to kind of, I don't know, I guess to have like a classic kind of Black Sabbath song, like what you'd be in store for NIB, aka Nib, or you know, sometimes referred to as Nativity in Black, even though it's has nothing, you know, it's just NIB, means nothing beyond that. I think it was Bill Ward's beard. He had like a Van Dyke, and it looked like the tip of a pen, the nib of a pen.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they're, you know, they were
I
just
heard
high
that.
as,
Yeah.
they were just high as shit, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sounds good." It's a bit
Yeah. A Geezer, I gotta say, is he's in that gentleman's club,
Sure.
musician gentleman's club for sure. I love
Yeah.
Geezer, and yeah, everything from his playing to his tone to his behavior, it's all fucking rad.
Yeah. And of course, like preceding NIB, you have Basically, which is always fun. You know, his Geezer's bass solo. Geezer Butler, I mean, you know, one of the heavy hitters. Geezer Butler.
And for me, it's very much the same for me. Like it's why I got drawn to bass was at I think it was Video Warehouse that finally closed after all these years.
Oh yeah.
But I was I think it was a used VHS of the Black Sabbath story, and I was a teen or preteen, and just watching Geezer in that was what got me drawn over there. And and even still, like hearing him talk, he's just a really humble guy, and like thankful that he got to go on that journey and that he met, you know, Iommi and Ozzy and Bill. And I guess what he describes it as, he started off with a guitar, so he was playing guitar, and then just kind of when they first started jamming, he was just playing with the lowest 4 strings on the guitar, and just that kind of he said Bill Ward, like he really felt grateful that he let him grow as a musician, and that's why he started, you know, doing more of his different runs and some more experimental stuff, just because the other bandmates let him start from just picking up the instrument to growing as a musician.
And I mean, I use a lot of Geezer Butler's style, like power chord arpeggios. You know, I just remember hearing, you know, it's all over the place in Black Sabbath. And I remember thinking that it's like, how are you doing that? You know, I was younger, and I didn't, you know, wasn't really that much versed in like music theory or anything like that. But it's like, oh, it's actually really simple, and it can fill things out a lot. You know, but yeah, all praise be to Geezer. I mean, let's get real about it. You know, Black Sabbath is the heaviest. There is none heavier.
I feel like it's hard to be a bass player and not have that attitude. I've never met anyone that was different than that, and I would be really weirded out if I did.
It's like it'd be like the first time you called anybody a poser since you were a teenager. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's just like, we can't. It's like, nah, this guy is not my kind of guy.
Exactly. My next track for the playlist is Overkill with Wrecking Crew. It's from Taken Over, second studio album by thrash metal band Overkill. Came out in '87 on Megaforce, and then I think Atlantic at some point. But Wrecking Crew, and this one I got early on in my journey into heavier music, and just I think it was just the album cover that won me over. Just they're pointing guns at you.
Yep. Yep. All four of them. They're like a gang. Yeah. And the thing about the
some rebel force.
Yeah. The thing about the Wrecking Crew is they will wreck your neck.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for that.
You basically have to be Corpse Grinder Fisher to not get wrecked by that.
Yeah, you have to be all neck. Check up from the neck up.
And I guess, I was just thinking about it, and in 87, Overkill opened for Halloween on the Keeper of the Keys tour, and they supported Megadeth on the Wake Up Dead tour, and then they headlined their own shows with Testament, so that's quite a fucking run of peers to be with when you're, coming up and ripping some music like they put out on Taking Over.
Yeah, it's like, why stay at home when you can play all these shows with all these bands, And I don't think they made a whole lot of money from record sales. I think they had to tour to make a living too. Like they toured so much that, even though they're on a major label, I think they got screwed over somehow and never really got a bunch of royalties, something like that. I think is a story about Overkill. But, I mean, they're still around today, so I mean, must be doing something right,
Yeah, and I feel like they still put out really strong stuff. Like I've never just been disappointed after getting a new Overkill album. Like obviously it goes in some waves of different levels of strength, but always what I would consider like I'm glad that I put that on and thrashed with Overkill.
Yeah.
And then, I think we're getting into some newer tracks for the playlist. What do you
got? I got for a newer one, "Always About to Die" by Autopsy. It was their comeback album from their lengthy hiatus. Then I was kind of thinking about new tracks, and that was the one that just kind of popped in my brain. I'm sure there's also other ones that I just haven't thought about, but just that one is just classic Autopsy, and it they talk about like a lot of horror and gore in their lyrics, but this one is always about to die. I mean, we all kind of are always about to die. Anything could happen at any point, so look out and watch your pooper out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because we all could die.
You have to.
Yeah. I mean, probably not. You'll probably be okay, but have that in the back of your head. It's kind of scary to think about. But anyway, and it's a brutal song that starts out just really, really fucking heavy, and also Autopsy, the twisted child, death metal child of Frank Zappa and Black Sabbath is what Autopsy is.
I would agree with that assessment. And my new track, I'm going to go with the new one from Carcass. Have you been able to hear this yet?
I think I heard a new song. It was like from the EP, like a new EP. Was
it's Kelly's Meat Emporium is the name of the track. Okay.
I think it's
going to come out September 17th, 2021. It's called Torn Arteries is the album.
Okay. Torn Arteries. All right.
So definitely crank that one, give that one a loud rip and see what you think.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like from the title of it that they're, giving the fans what they want. Like going back to like gorier days.
Yeah, when I saw them at Woolies, I thought the set list was very much give the people what they want.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which that's what people want, because there's a lot of fans that are like newer fans that that have been around, they've kind of just cultivated, after their breakup, initially. So a lot of people want to hear those songs.
Yeah. What's your last track for the playlist?
What was it? I think it was my buddy Juicy Carcass, Punch Him in the Dick. It's a great video, great song about if somebody's talking shit, just punch him in the dick, you know? Yeah, I mean, I've known Jesse for like probably over 20 years now, and I don't know, he's just always kind of a guy, because this song is also kind of like a inspirational kind of thing too, because he's always been the kind of guy that just kind of does whatever he wants, and it makes his life fits his life accordingly to just doing whatever he wants to do. Like, yeah. So, I was just kind of, he sent me a bunch of books because he was moving. So he just kind of needed to unload some stuff, and just started talking to him again a little bit. And I've been to Europe with him, and just played a bunch of shows over the years with him, with different bands, and all those sorts of things. So yeah, Jesse Marcus is his real name, but Juicy Carcass. He doesn't do Juicy Carcass, his rap persona anymore. Anyway, that's what I got for that. And it's on YouTube, the video, Punch Him in the Dick.
Hopefully by adding this to the playlist, we can start the movement to bring it back.
Bring him back. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to close out the playlist real strong with Traffic Death, The Fury. So this is the new track that you can hear at bandcamp.com, trafficdeathbandcamp.com, or Some Pump Records bandcamp.com. That's where you can hear the new track and pre-order the album. And to me, this track is everything I could have hoped for. It's aptly titled The Fury. Check it out. I think if you dug anything these cats have done, you will be really pleased and amped to crank this one. So just remember, you can pre-order the new record at somepumprecords.com, and definitely crank this loud. Traffic Death with The Fury.
Yeah. And for the Christine fans out there, they'll like that song. So when it comes out, you read the lyrics, and it's Nate was very taken. He was very inspired lyrically by the book and the movie, which he was a big fan of both. So
yeah, and yes, there's you definitely keep the Christine in mind. You'll see it right away.
Yeah, the sound samples, all that. Yeah.
Saw the record is dedicated to the memory of Rob Ogg, which is awesome.
Yes, yeah. So it's almost been a year since he passed away, and
I feel like my ears are still ringing from the last time I saw him play live. Sure. So
and it's great. Like, also, Some Pump put out Skin of Earth Records, which he was the drummer for, and so we'll always have that. I've got 3 tattoos that he did. Like he'll always have we can all have a personal shrine of his. And he was just dude, who didn't love that guy? He was just the best, and shout out to his wife Jenny. She's an amazing person, and just all the just all the swell of support that was going around after he passed away. It was just really amazing to see, when there's a bunch of horse shit going on everywhere constantly, that there are people around you that give a shit about you and all those kinds of things. So, but always.
We'll end out the episode on that note, and if there's anything else you want to say about the new record, we'll close it out with that.
Judas Curse of the Iron Sabbath. Very shortly, be coming out. There's Traffic Death on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course, also follow Some Pump Records, and Some Pump Records, I think, is on pretty much any platform, whatever. But for sure, Facebook and Instagram are on, and you'll find all that kind of stuff soon. And we'll be coming up with confirm some dates, some live dates, and probably some out of town stuff coming up here. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Keep listening.
Yeah. Heavy Radio, episode 32, Traffic Death, bassist Andrew Smeltzer, Cranky.
Thank you.